the Maid of Vales, and with you here on Curveballs on Phoenix FM, a track that kicks off Hope, a compilation album by the Alban Connection. All proceeds from which are going to St Albans Against Action for Homeless.
Action for Homeless, that's correct, yeah.
Yes, indeed. And Mark, who joins us in the studio now, as well as being Mr. Neither Silence, was also one of the main organisers of that compilation coming about. So tell us about the Alban Connection, Mark.
So the Alban Connection, so it goes back to around Christmas last year, so Christmas 2021 actually, so year before last technically. And I remember walking around St Albans where my studio is, and quite often at Christmas the plight of homelessness is really kind of highlighted to the to the human eye. Definitely. I'm not saying it's obviously a problem that is just around Christmas, but I think it's a period when people realise how hard homelessness is really. And for whatever reason, I thought, okay, is there something that I with some other people could do to help the awareness and plight of homelessness? And shortly after that, so it would have been around the beginning of 2022, I contacted some local artists who I knew of to see, to propose an idea that I had, that I sort of put together over the course of a few days to see if they'd be interested. And luckily, a lot of people were interested. And I wouldn't say that's credit to me. I think that's just credit to people thinking that it was a really, really good cause. So I spoke with them about, putting music together, putting tracks together, whatever. And, which they did over the next few months. And I, sort of put it to them, okay, well, let's do something to start promoting in September for the sake of putting it out in December, in the days sort of coming up to Christmas, to really, highlight the plight of homelessness. And I guess the objective for me was, getting some good out of it for homeless people. So I then chose a charity who, I did some research and chose a charity that I thought did some really good work with, donating money to people who are homeless and raising the awareness of it. And I spoke to the organisers there. And that's kind of how it all, came about. So although I had the initial thoughts, I couldn't have done it without the artist who agreed to get involved. And, as you know, I love music, so I wanted to do something that I was familiar with, and I just thought, okay, let's just put together a compilation album and make it happen. And people just seem to love the idea of it. So, and that was that. So it's been a long, about a year in the making, but we only started really pushing it in September. And obviously, from a slightly selfish point of view, there was, I was involved in Neither Silence for most of this year, so I couldn't sort of do two things at once. But that's the story behind the Alban Connection coming together and to where we are today.
Excellent, good stuff. Well, we just heard the track that opens it from the Maid of Vales, and here is track 2, Foxy Blue. Can't see anyone confusing her with Foxy Brown, but that is Foxy Blue here on Curveballs on Phoenix FM, and a track called Here With Me, which is the second track you'll hear on the compilation album Hope, brought to you by the Alban Connection. Mark from the Alban Connection joins me in the studio. So where can people get their hands on the album then, Mark? On
all main digital outlets, so they can purchase it from Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music. I guess the main outlet that people use nowadays is perhaps Spotify, Apple Music and iTunes. But all of the main digital outlets. So yeah, and if you Google us, you know, we're on all of the social networks: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Find out more about getting involved and making a contribution.
Yeah, definitely. And the artists who, I know you've not asked me yet, but you know me, I talk for England. But the artists involved in the album are, you know, they're all really great musicians and great people. I'll just give a shout out to some of the musicians on there. Some of them you won't necessarily be familiar with. But the Maid of Vales, who you've just heard, and they often play at a pub in St Albans called the Mermaid Pub. I know it's a little bit away from Essex, but they're doing a gig there this Sunday. They are doing great things. Foxy Blue, she does a lot of cabaret in and around London. So if you Google her, she's great. There's other bands such as Brocker, Brocker. Kevin Lynch, Charlotte and the Glovers. The track they have on the album is one of my favourite tracks, which you'll no doubt hear later on in the show. Count Paris. There's a singer called Adam Ewers who I feature. Well, we do record a track together, which again you will hear on the here on today's show. And there's a beautiful violinist called Leanne Sinner who contributes a classical track to the album. So I just wanted to keep the album diverse. Diverse. And the Pocket Gods, there's a band called the Pocket Gods who are great. So yeah, there's a lot of diversity on the album, and there's a charity organisation called Liana's Wish, and I asked for some of the children involved in that organisation to contribute some sort of intro style tracks to the album as well. So it's a very, very, very good album, and more importantly, it's for a really, really good cause that affects all of us in different ways. You know, even if we haven't been affected directly and been the victims of homelessness, I'm sure we all know people, and we see people, you know, most days who have found themselves in a situation which has resulted in them being homeless, which is obviously incredibly sad, especially at Christmas, but, you know, all round. You know, when, you know, I always think to myself, when I'm walking around in a jacket, hoodie and a jeans and trainers, and I'm absolutely freezing, especially of late, it then puts it into perspective when you see people who haven't got a roof over their heads, and then you actually realise how lucky we are to be in the position we are. So yeah, but yeah, absolutely. So I just thought I'd say my little bit there.
No, very true, matey. Yeah. Very true. And we'll listen to one of your favourites from the album next, Charlotte and the Glovers. So they're a new name to us. So tell us about this track.
Yes. So this track is called "Admiring the View." I fell in love with the track the first time I heard it. So I sort of hijacked them on social media, and I said, "You need to please be on this album." And it's just a lovely track. I didn't know much about Charlotte and the Glovers before putting this album together, but again, it was all part of me doing my homework. And yeah, when I heard the track, it's just very, very mellow but happy, feel-good track, and genuinely. And I'm not just saying this because, you know, they may be listening, but the first time I heard the track, I was just a bit like, wow, this is a really, really happy, fun, nice track. So hopefully the listeners will feel the same.
Here it is, being all those things. Charlotte and the Glovers here on Purples on Phoenix FM with Admiring the View, another of the tracks from the Alban Connection compilation album entitled Hope, which is available now. Mark from the Alban Connection joins me in the studio. So Mark, what's next for the Alban Connection? Are you planning on more albums, some events? What's in the pipeline?
Yes, so I'm actually talking with the other artists at the moment, because I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to, excuse the pun, but I'm hoping to put together a gig for the bank holiday weekend in August, the last bank holiday weekend in August, at a venue in St Albans. So that's what's being planned at the moment. I can't hand on heart say it's 100% going to happen because I'm checking availabilities. I'm talking to the venue, so maybe I've already spoken too soon. But yeah, definitely. If that doesn't happen, hopefully it will. But if that doesn't happen, there'll be a gig of some sort. However, I've got to say, with the artist on the album, it's worth checking them out because a lot of them are doing gigs. You know, bands such as Count Paris, the Maid of Vales, the Pocket Gods, Kiwi Lynch. They do gigs regular, and not just around St Albans. They do the gigs in London, Essex, so they're worth checking out, and they're all on the socials and stuff. And obviously, shameless plug, but Neither Silence will be doing some stuff in the summer as well, soon to be confirmed. So yeah, as an Alban Connection collective, there's not anything confirmed yet. However, as I said, if you check out the artist, they are doing plenty of gigs. Yeah, so I guess it's just getting December and January out the way in a lot of people's minds before they probably feel that they'll be out and about enjoying the live music.
Yes, everything it all seems like a world away.
Yeah.
Festival season, doesn't it?
Yeah. But even before then, I guess January has never really been a popular month for people to go out. Some people are doing dry January. Some people have spent so much money over Christmas, and they just want a rest from the madness that Christmas brings. Because no doubt a lot of people would have been going out a lot in the run up to Christmas and around Christmas. So yeah, realistically, I'm aware that it's probably kind of springish time that people will probably start getting out and about again once they get January out of the way.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And then you've got the festival season, as we'll say, in the summer. So.
Indeed. Indeed. And to pass the time even further, let's listen to another track now. And we'll listen to the aforementioned Kiwi Lynch. So tell us about how you got in touch with, is it Kiwi?
Kevi, I think, yeah, Kevi.
Right.
Kevi. I've probably pronounced it wrong, but yeah, Kevi Lynch, sorry. So he is an artist who is based in St Albans, and he's a front man of a band called Determined. And again, he's on all of the social networks. When I started doing some research about the artist who I could approach to get involved in the album, he seemed to be everywhere. And a lot of the artists knew him because he's worked on various collaborations with different artists on the album. He's popped up at their gigs. There was the band, the Pocket Gods. They did a gig. They performed at a gig recently, and he jumped on stage with them and stuff. But yeah, and I'd say, without talking for him, I'd say that I found his style to be sort of punk ska. I was thinking of people like the Specials and the Beat a little bit when I heard him. And again, I was just really intent on trying to make the album diverse, and he was a perfect fit. And he's such a gentleman. Yeah, he's we've had a chat on the phone and stuff, and yeah, he is really putting his support behind this whole album. And he was actually the one who put me in touch with St Albans Action for Homeless in terms of points of contacts and what have you. So really, really great guy.
Big up, Kevi. Kevi Lynch with Blue Affair here on Curveballs on Phoenix FM. Another track from the Hope album, a compilation of St Albans artists put together by the Alban Connection. Mark from the Alban Connection joins me in the studio. We have one more track that we're playing from the album, and it's got you on it. Well, you had to fit yourself in somewhere. Don't blame you.
Yes, so it's a track called The Road. So Adam Ewers, who is the main singer on the track, the credit for putting the track together goes to him. And he was really kind enough to ask me to put a rap on it, basically. And again, I thought it was a lovely, lovely song that he wrote. And when I wrote my part, he seemed to think it was a really, really good fit. And yeah, sort of recorded it in my studio, and yeah, again, I just thought it was a really good fit for the album, because as I sort of said before, I didn't want the album to just be of a specific genre. I wanted the album to be accessible to different listeners, and I wanted it to be fairly commercial for the in line with the cause of the album. So I wanted all different walks of people from different walks of life to feel a connection with the album, regardless of age, culture, race, music, genre, taste, whatever. So I wanted everyone to have a connection with the album, and I just thought it was a good fit. But I have to say the track really is credit to Adam Ewers. It's called The Road, and it's kind of folky. It's
interesting that you talk about having a variety of stuff on the album, because there's a wide variety in this song.
Yes, there is.
That you and Adam have very different vocal styles.
Yes, of course. And I've always been very, very much a fan of cross-genre tracks, and I know that sounds really, really weird, but there's artists that who I've been a fan of over the years. I'd say Damon Albarn's probably been a big influence on my music, and when I see the stuff he's done with especially the Gorillaz, and you'll see sort of Damon Albarn recording a track or on stage with artists like De La Soul or Snoop, and you think, well, that ain't gonna work, because he's a massive indie star, or he was known as a massive indie star solely through Blur, and then you've got these sort of rappers from America, and it works, and it just works, and you think,
it does.
God, and so I took some influence from that kind of thing, even when I recorded my first solo album. I remember recording a track called London City, and essentially it was an indie instrumental with me rapping on top of it, which sounds like a recipe for disaster, but I was really happy with the results of that. So throughout my music projects, I've always kind of been a fan of, if something pops in your head and it sounds like it's going to be weird, explore it, because hopefully it will be different to most things.
London City, I think, was the first track of yours we ever played on the show.
Oh, I see.
So,
okay. Yeah.
So it was, but definitely, it's when you go with a lot of different styles, and yes, this is definitely another string to your bow.
Thank you.
So yes, here's Mark Anthony, as we've never heard him before, along with Adam Ewers. One final track from the Alban Connection's compilation album, Hope. That was Adam Ewers featuring Mark Anthony, who has joined me in the studio tonight. That track was entitled The Road. So Mark, remind us one more time where people can get their hands on the compilation album.
So on all of the main digital stores, including Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music. I'll rightly or wrongly assume that most people nowadays would perhaps go through the Spotify link, or iTunes or Apple, and even Alexa. So yes, all of the main digital stores, and we are on all of the social networks as well. If you just type in the Alban Connection, whether it's Instagram, Facebook or Twitter, you will find us on there, and just Google us, because there have been some media outlets that have been really kind enough to help to support the album, really. And you'll see some news articles and links to social media and stuff, even through Googling us. So it really, really, really is a good cause. The artists on the album are great. It's it's 17 tracks, so it's good value. And
absolutely, listeners.
Number of artists on there who are all great. They're worth checking out in themselves. As well. So I can't emphasize how much of a good cause it is, and it's a good album, if I may say so myself.
Absolutely, good stuff. Yes, and we should say Alban as in St Albans.
Yes, St Albans. Yes,
not as in Damon Albarn, because we mentioned him.
This album definitely isn't a tribute to Damon Albarn, but the Alban Connection, which obviously the play on words is St Albans. So it's all of the artists are artists who are connected with St Albans, and there's a wealth of talent, and I really appreciate you, Nick, for allowing, the project to be featured on the show, because I'm aware that it's not an Essex-based project. But it's for people from all over the world.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
Absolutely. Yes, we don't mind that at all, and it's in support of a very worthy cause as well.
Thank you.
Action for Homeless, definitely.
Yes.
Right, we are going to finish off with one more Neither Silence track.
Okay.
Tell us a bit about City Lights.
City Lights, yes, I remember this. So, as I said, this album, the album Recharge, was written throughout 2021 at a time where there was lots of false starts in terms of can we socialise, can we not socialise, whatever. And this particular track was written when things kind of started to sort of open up. And I remember I was walking down Regent Street and everything just seemed lit up, and it was the first time I felt that I'd seen London like that in a while, because everything was shut, because they weren't allowed to open, be it pubs, bars, whatever it was, and everything was sort of lit up, and it was like, wow, London seems to be alive. I just had that feeling, and there and then I just started writing City Lights. I kind of had a notepad and I just started writing down some lyrics, and I just built on that. Spoke to Panos. Panos put some music together, and wrote the track, and I think the track came out quite good, and it really fit well for the album, because, as I said, the theme of that particular album, Recharge, was about, we've all had an awful time in varying degrees, and so we all deserve just to have fun in any which way we want to, and things just seem to open up and come alive again. So that was the whole theme of the whole album, Recharge, and as I said, City Lights fell right into that theme.
Excellent. Where can people get their hands on the album Recharge and find out more about Neither Silence?
Yeah, again, all of the main digital stores. So again, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and Neither Silence are fortunate enough to be on all of the social networks as well. So the spelling of Neither Silence is Nyther. And Silence, the name is credit to Panos, because he wanted to create a name that was easily identifiable on Google, hence the reason he spelt Neither, Nyther. And we're easily findable. And again, if you Google us, we've had some really positive press outlets support us, which has been really nice. So we are easy to find. Oh, and YouTube, our videos, our music videos are all over YouTube. So we're 2 albums in at the moment, and preparing for gigs in the summer, which is soon to be announced. So we're very busy rehearsing at the moment, and learning the songs to take it sort of at least nationwide to the audience. Yes.
Excellent. Good stuff. We are running out of time, but yes, look up Neither Silence online, look up the Alban Connection and the compilation album Hope, because as we've heard tonight, it's got a ton of great tracks from great artists involved in it. Shout out to all of them and everyone involved with the Alban Connection, and I think it's safe to say it very much starts here. Mark, from the Alban Connection, Neither Silence, and all that other stuff that you're involved in, which is a whole other interview in itself, listeners. Thank you very much, matey.
Thank you, Nick. Much appreciated, and thank you to everyone for listening. It's greatly appreciated. It's not taken for granted. Thank you.